Welcome to 10 Minute Teach with Mr. A. In this video, we're going to be learning the most efficient way to subtract decimal numbers. Okay, let's get into it. What I recommend doing at this point is pausing the video and writing these calculations down, maybe even having a go at them first, and then checking you're working against mine. Okay, so let's get going with our three examples then. So, little top tip there for you, just to make sure that your decimal places are always in line and that there's definitely one in line in your answer as well. So I'll show you what I mean as we go through. Now, when you're subtracting decimal numbers, you don't do anything different as you would than when you subtract whole numbers, except you need to make sure that you follow that top tip. So let's get going with this one. So 18.4 subtract 15.8. So let's write those in. So 18.4 subtract 15.8. There we go. My answer sign in there. And you'll see that I've got that decimal in my answer and that they're all lined up. So this is very similar to if they were whole numbers. It'd be the same as doing 184 take away 158. So let's get going with this one. So 4 subtract 8, well, I can't do that, so I'm going to need to borrow from my 8, and I give that to my 4 to make 14. Now 14 take away 8 is 6, but in this case, it's not 6, it's 0.6, because it's in my tens place. And then I've got 7 whole ones take away 5, which leaves us with 2. And then 1 take away 1, which leaves us with nothing. So 18.4 subtract 15.8 is 2.6. And this example only had tenths in it. So if you wanted to, you could write in your place value headings as well to make that a little easier for yourself, but that's entirely up to you whether you want to do that. I would recommend it if it's your first time trying it, just to make sure that you get everything in line. Okay, let's move on to our second example. So 92.6 subtract 33.74. So once again, let's get this one written out. So 92.6 subtract 33.74. Okay, our answer sign in there, a large equal sign, there we are. Okay, once again, let's follow that top tip. So I've got all my decimals in line and there's one in my answer. Now then, you'll notice with this one that if I pop my place value headings in there, I've got some hundredths. Now 33.74 and 92.6. Well, 92.6 is the same as having 92.60 because I've got no hundredths with that number. Now that then gives you something that you can subtract from. So let's start off just as we would, as if we were doing 9,260 subtract 3,374. So with my 0, I can't take away 4 from a 0, so I'm going to move to my 6 and make that a 5 because I borrowed 1 from it, and give that one to my 0 to make 10. Now 10 subtract 4, or 10 hundredths subtract 4 hundredths is 6 hundredths. And then 5 tenths take away 7 tenths. Well, I can't do that, so I'm going to have to borrow from the number next door and then give it to the one that I've got here. So then I've got 15 tenths take away 7 tenths, which leaves me with 8 tenths. So I've got 0.86 so far. And then in my ones column, I've got 1 subtract 3. Well, unfortunately, can't do that one again. So I'm going to borrow from my 9 tens and give that 10 to my ones to make 11. So 11 subtract 3 is 8. There we go. So I've got 8.86 so far. And then 8 take away 3, or 80 take away 30 in reality, which leaves us with 50. So the answer to that one is 58.86. Okay, so let's move on to our third example. So let's write this one out. 15.23 subtract 9.183. So let's get this one again written out. So 15.23 subtract 9.183. 0.183, and then we'll get our answer sign in there. There we go. All decimals lined up, and you'll notice with this one I have some hundredths and I've got some thousands. So I'm going to pop my place value columns in there. Tenths, hundredths, thousands, my ones and my tens. Okay, so we can do the same thing as we did before. 15.23 is exactly the same as 15.230 because we've got no thousandths in that column at all. And then we start with just subtracting as if it was 15,230, subtract 9,183. So let's get cracking. We've got 0, take away 3. I cannot do it, so I've got to borrow from my hundredths, and I give it to my thousandths there. So 10 subtract 3 leaves me with 7 thousandths. Okay, so 2 hundredths take away 8 hundredths. Again, I can't do that one. So I borrow 1 from my tenths, and I give it to my hundredths. So 12 to take away 8 is 4. 1 tenth take away 1 tenth leaves us with no tenths. Okay, then I've got my ones column. So 5 take 9. Again, I can't take a 9 away from a 5. So I'm going to borrow from my tens, give that whole 10 to my ones. So 15 subtract 9 leaves us with 6. So 15.23 subtract 9.183 is 6.047. If this video has helped you today, then please consider checking out my other videos, maybe leave a comment for any that you'd like me to do in future, and also maybe a little subscribe as well. Until next time guys, goodbye.